We are back from PTO, and AEW is still a house of fire. WWE's got their comings and goings, and we have another bad Terry sighting in public. Marcus, did we miss anything while we were gone?
Nope.
This is Final Wrestling Place.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.
Are you ready to listen to Final Wrestling Place? Kick it! Yeah! Yeah! You wanna be in the good place, fool? You better be doing what you're supposed to do. Bad place, little boy. Good place, little man. Break it down. Final Wrestling Place. Final Wrestling Place.
Welcome to Final Wrestling Place. I'm Tim.
Oh, I'm still Marcus.
And it's good to be back in the saddle, I think. Thank you for... That's right. Thank you for allowing us the PTO. We definitely appreciate it. I definitely did debate doing a one-man show. But yeah, I didn't have it. I didn't have it in me.
I was surprised to not see a show. I saw some people throwing their names into the hat.
Yeah, I definitely big shout out to Ed, to Big Tates, for offering your services. But I was it's kind of like the teacher's going to be gone, and the teacher pretty much says, "Hey, you don't have to come to class, but I'll still have the door open. You can come in if you want." Like, nah, man, we got PTO. Mm-hmm. I'll just take the PTO and we're good. So, thank you to those who offered. Definitely wasn't not necessarily trying to not do a show with you. It's more of not doing a show. So
next time the show's going to Ed and Tatum.
The next one for sure. Heaven forbid I take PTO and then Marcus has to figure out how to do this thing with Ed and Tatum. That'll put the butts in the seats. Just technical wizardry at its finest. Yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff to cover, missing a couple of weeks. So we may talk about some older topics. We'll put some new polish on it. Plus, we've got another blind ranking. We do have some weekly purchases, an undertaking, and I get to put on my hat again and cover some bad Terry lies. But I think we'll start with the thing that most people are talking about on the Discord, and a lot of people who follow international wrestling are talking about, and that is the G1 Climax.
Oh, baby.
G134. I hope you got your bracket in on time. Were you?
I did.
You beat the buzzer, huh?
I did. I got mine in on time. It took a good 15-20 minutes to fill it out. But the theme with my G1 bracket this year, and I guess we could probably skip the match by match picks and just go to our quarters, semis, and finals.
Agreed.
Since the tournament's already started. But my theme, and with the limited knowledge that I have in New Japan, I'm definitely not an expert like Brett or DJ or Adam or yourself. My theme is New Japan needs to crown a guy, a homemade guy, and I think they need to take this tournament to do so.
And I think so too. And my G1 is very close to that. I actually tried something different with the way I filled out my bracket too. Instead of just looking at the bracket and going match by match, I went in card order.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Cage Match, the most trusted source in overrating wrestling matches.
Or
underrating. That's true. And going through every stop of the G1 and looking at the matches and actually trying to pick the winner of the match based on like the fatigue level that the wrestler
and like show to show flow, which is a pretty good idea.
Right. It is not what I did last year, and last year I won the whole thing, so I might be trying to reinvent the wheel for no reason. So Marcus,
evolving the offense,
evolving
is what that's called.
Is right. I'm not waiting on the defenses to catch up. I'm getting ahead of it. So Marcus, who are the three that you have coming out of Block A?
All right, out of Block A, I have Zack Sabre Jr. with the bye. I have Naito, and I have Shota Umino. My guy.
We are 1 for 3 on that.
Okay. Who do you got?
So I have Zack Sabre Jr. missing out on a tiebreaker.
Okay.
I have 2 people with 14 wins and 3 people with 12 wins. And so the person I have with a bye, not a popular opinion for some, but I know New Japan loves feeding this guy wins. So the person I have winning Block A is House of Torture's Evil.
Okay.
And in the quarterfinals, it is Sonata and Shooter. So Evil, Sonata, and Shooter for Block A. For Block B, my bye goes to David Finlay.
Okay.
And the quarterfinal matchup for me is a rematch from night 1 of the tournament. It is Konosuke Takeshita and Yota Tsuji.
Okay.
So what do you have for Block B?
For Block B, getting the first round bye, I have Tsuji.
Huge Tsuji.
Mr. Tsuji.
Mr. Gene Blast himself.
In the quarterfinals, I have David Finlay and Ren Narita.
Okay. All right. That Ren Narita pick so far for 2 nights. Maybe not the best pick. Tied, starting off 1-1. That's okay. Not horrible.
On the board.
On the board. So what do you
G1
have?
is not a sprint.
That's right. It is a climax. So what do you have as the semifinals of Block A?
I've got Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Shota Umino.
And I have Evil taking on Sonata in a House of Torture. He's just 5 guys, but he has LIJ history
connections
in Sonata. Yeah. For Block B, my semis are David Finlay taking on Yota Tsuji. I got Huge Tsuji picking up the win, getting his win back from earlier in the tournament, which means my finals are just 5 guys versus LIJ. It's Sonata versus Tsuji. What is your finals?
Like you, I had Finlay and Tsuji in the semifinals. So my finals, I have Mr. Tsuji taking on Shota Umino.
Okay. And so do we both have a heartbreak for Yota Tsuji in the finals?
I do. Yes, I have Shota Umino.
And I have Sonata running it back. I think where everybody's brain is with Tsuji being the one to take over for LIJ, I think that can still happen through this G1 without him winning it and beating Naito in the finals. Or beating Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. I think the fact that I don't have Naito even making the final 6, I actually have Naito getting 10 points in block play with Naito losing to all the big contenders. I have him losing to Shooter, Sonata, Shingo, Zack Sabre Jr., and beating Great O'Khan, Evil, Gabe Kidd, Jake Lee, and Caleb Newman. So, like, basically, if you're practically a former New Japan champ, IWGP World Heavyweight Champ, whatever. If you've held the title, you pretty much beat Naito. Now I know what you're saying. Evil's been champ. I don't care. We don't count Evil. We don't count House of Torture for anything, even though he did get my number one spot. So that's where we are. If you want to see our brackets, let us know in the Discord at TNM Shows. Since the deadline's already passed, I think we're beyond the part where you can copy us and get an A. But it was definitely, it's always a challenge in doing the block fill out.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially Block A, which was so stacked. I had a hard time justifying Naito not making at least the quarterfinals since he is the IWGP New Japan champ. I had him like at least making the quarterfinals. And so I had difficulty having him miss out on the semifinals. But Sonata, let me double check my bracket here real quick, but I had Naito and Sonata with a tiebreaker, and I had Naito with the head-to-head win.
Yeah. And my tie was for third. My tie was for third between Shooter, Zack Sabre Jr., and Shingo. And on my bracket, Shooter beats both of them, so he automatically gets the bye. Made it very easy to break a three-way tie if one guy beats both of them. Who knows? Maybe all of my work on the T1 is rubbing off a little bit, but needless to say, I'm very excited for this. Even if I win or I don't win, it is super fun. It's a good way to roll with the group and see everything. I do plan on going back and watching a lot of the matches. I watched a little bit during my... Is it a vacation if you travel 20 minutes away from your house and stay overnight somewhere?
I call that a little trip.
Little staycation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched some of the G1 on my staycation. So that was fun, but I definitely will have some work to make up for, to get me through my work days at my super secret science job. Marcus, you had talked to me earlier, before we started, about possibly moving weekly purchases up to an earlier spot in the show, and I'm happy to oblige.
Yeah, I'm just eager to see your weekly purchase
right.
Because we both have a little bit of a story.
Yes.
Good brother Brett hooked us up with his brother-in-law, who give him a shout out, the MMA Shark on Whatnot and Instagram. He is a fantastic mixed martial arts capper. If you're in the opportunity business, but he also does card breaks, and according to his reviews, he's excellent at that. But he's been doing WWE cards. And so, of course, us being pro wrestling fans, we hopped in to show a little bit of support into the live stream. And wouldn't you know it, neither of us ended up leaving the stream empty-handed.
Yeah, so the way that the card breaks work, and some of us are initiated into it. We're dyed into the wool. We know what it is. We're basically, before the box opens, you basically, in sports cards, you like bet for a team, or you pick a team, and then you get all of the hits for that team. So if you wanted the Steelers, for example, you could put down $5 because that's all they're worth nowadays. And you can get everybody from a hit for Steelers. Whereas if you wanted to lose money, if you wanted to pick a team that actually has players that are worth a darn, that will have cards that are worth something, like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Washington Commanders, you could do that. Hey, the Jaden Daniels card is going to be sick.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Go buy one. Go buy one.
No, I don't
Go
collect.
buy one.
I don't collect football cards.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you sitting here trying to get me into another hobby, another money sink. Not for me, Jack. As you can see, I already know how to spend my money horribly. It's all behind me on a wall. But the card break was super fun. I'm knowledgeable of this from like Pokemon, where it's not necessarily the same kind of break, but you can pay into boxes to get a pack from a box. And especially like when you're dealing with older sets, those packs could have a Charizard in it or a Blastoise or a Venusaur if you're talking about like base set. But this was definitely fun. And so I got in on 2 opportunities. There's that word again. One was for Big E, which did not hit. But I got in on D'Lo Brown. And, of course, Mr. Marcus could not be outdone. Marcus, who did you break for?
Well, I had to put in a bid for the Ravishing Rick Rude. Got into a couple of little bidding wars for, I think, Randy Orton. Trying to remember. I think Don Morocco was another one. Didn't end up landing those guys. But I said I was going to leave with something. And, the bigger the name, the bigger the price, So I had to make a couple of life decisions, a couple of calculated risks, and really contemplate the cost of opportunity. And, shout out Brett. Threw a couple numbers out there. We were able to make a deal work. Now, never mind the fact if I had to refinance and remortgage my house. 1 time.
What?
2 times.
What?
3 times.
What?
Whatever it was to get to just the right amount to plop down enough money for this opportunity. I had to claim the name of Bret Hitman Hart.
Hitman Daddy. So, I hit, and this is for the Immaculate set, the Immaculate collection for WWE. I got a 1 of 99 D'Lo Brown autograph card. It's him in
What
the
a
old
hit.
Nation of Domination gear. Very clean card. Very hard to mess up. His autograph looks like something I would have done if my name was D'Lo Brown.
Let me see that again. Oh yeah.
The big swoop and so I got a hit. Now, I did say that Big E did not hit, but I ended up getting a consolation pack in my winnings.
Okay.
I got an NXT pack.
All right. So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. My Rick Rude did not hit, but I did get hooked up with a NXT 2.0 pack of 15.
Yeah. Did you already open yours?
I sure did.
I did too. So I got a Raquel Rodriguez NXT 2021 highlights card.
Okay.
Fallon Henley, Wes Lee, Oliver Carter from NXT UK, Stevie Turner. I'll hold that aside for Adam just in case. Johnny Saint, James Drake, Amari Miller. This looks to be like a rookie Roxanne Perez. Giovanni Vinci, Cameron Grimes, Damon Kemp, Teoman, Finn Balor, and then a gold Finn Balor, and then a green Mark Andrews.
Oh, okay. Nice. I got rookie card Grayson Waller, rookie card Tony D'Angelo, also known as Tony Pepperoni. Some dude named Kenny Williams. I've never heard of him before.
Kenny Rogers.
I got a rookie card NXT UK, Lyra Valkyrie, when she went as a different first name. Also got an Alp Fire with a little bit of green in the corner. Don't know what that means. Some dude named Primate from NXT UK. Never seen that dude before. Rookie card Electra Lopez from NXT 2.0. Trent Seven. Flash Morgan Webster. Cool. Just seeing other friends get rich. Zoe Stark. Saray. Danny Luna. I got a Finn Balor here that's different than all the rest.
Let me see if we got the same Finn.
This one right here has got the gold. Yeah. We got the same.
Showing the Balor Club off.
Sure is. And then also got a Cameron Grimes from 2021.
I got Cameron Grimes too. So all in all, really fun. I enjoyed it.
Fun little open.
Good little break insurance with the Panini pack. Definitely not enough on the pack to like make up for what you missed, but it's something, right? So
it was a great gesture.
You do not walk away empty-handed. I will definitely get involved in other MMA Shark breaks. They're definitely a fun time. The anticipation of waiting to see if your card will pop on a break is it's dopamine central. It is not a fun time.
Oh, it might be a problem.
And then it hits, and then you're okay. But we also have another big weekly purchase that we both made.
Well, I got to tell you, I got my Mr. Hitman. It did break. It is, of course, the Immaculate Collection. It is the all-time greats line.
Is that one of 49 or is that one of 99?
It is one of 49. Of course, autoed. And wouldn't you know it, the number on there, Tim, out of 49, would you like to guess which one this is?
Is this number 11?
It is number 11.
It's meant to be.
It was meant to be. Sure was.
Fun fact, Marcus's favorite number is the number 11. So
sure is. My jersey all throughout my illustrious middle school and high school and kind of college career. And yeah, man, pretty cool. Pretty cool that that synced up like that.
Yeah, man. I love it when a plan comes together. I love all that. But we also made another big weekly purchase, and that is we sold our souls to the EA Devils. And got college football 25.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, I'm in deep. It's tough. It's hard out here. It's hard out here for a pimp.
I don't know what exactly to equate this to.
Heroin.
We've been waiting for this, for well over 11 years, and I had dropped out of the NCAA gaming franchise much sooner than that. I think the last one I played was probably 09, 08, 09, around there. It had been quite a while since I'd played a game, but it's back. It's better than ever. It is by far, at least to me, the best football game. I think across like multiple consoles, across multiple generations. It has been a while since there's been a game this good.
Right.
And yeah, man, I'm in deep too. We've got our own franchises going on. Dynasties going on. Looking to get a dynasty together with another one of our brothers. Shout out Brett once again. Really getting in deep and in the thick of the warm.
That's right. That's what we're going to do. For my dynasty, I decided, so I'm in a shared dynasty with a roommate or ex-roommate. I took over the Old Dominion University Monarchs. We We're currently in our third year. We have not won the national championship, but I have already moved Old Dominion from the Sun Belt East to the ACC.
Okay. I just did the same.
To help with some recruiting issues. We're currently a 3.5-star school.
Okay.
And we are currently ranked number 1 in the nation, even though in the start of year 3, we lost our opening game to the defending 2-time national champion, New Mexico Lobos, which is the team that my buddy plays with.
Oh,
so
right.
we lost week 1, but after that we played, we stomped out number 3 Syracuse at home and then played another ranked opponent, and that shot us up to 1 ahead of the team that beat us by 4 to start the season. So,
okay.
But then I've also got a Road to Glory player going. I made myself as a running back.
Trucking people.
We started at Navy, and I immediately hit the transfer portal when I could my sophomore year. And so now I
quit the military?
I sure did. Draft Dodger McGee here. Can't do it. So I went to the land of milk and honey. I am a Nebraska Cornhusker. In the start of my junior year, looking to hopefully lead the nation for running back yards, and then I'm going to close out my year close out my career transferring again, and I want to go to a guaranteed championship contender to close out and hopefully get drafted high.
There you go.
And then I have my own dynasty that I don't play with anybody else, where we are Kent State.
Okay.
Kent State's got some sick unis and some sick helmets. So if you're looking for that, the endorsement from me. But I'm also a degenerate, and I love this crap. So super fun. But this is not a football podcast. This is not a video game podcast. It is a wrestling podcast. And what we're known for lately are these daggone blind rankings. If it's your first time sticking around for us for blind rankings, it's what you've seen on TikTok, Instagram, all the content creators doing it. Marcus and I have a list of 5 names, person, places, things, and it is our job to feed these to each other one at a time and for them to rank them on the fly. So Marcus, would you like to give or receive first?
Oh, I'm a giver, brother. First up for you, blind rank these wrestling TV shows.
All right. Okay, I can do that.
All right. Okay. So your first one, I'm giving you TNA Impact.
That's a solid 3.
Okay.
Middle of the line.
Next up.
That is the line.
Next up for you is WCW Monday Nitro.
Historically, that is a 2 for me.
Okay.
Nitro is a 2.
Next up for you is WWF Superstars. This also includes Superstars of Wrestling.
That's a 4.
All right. So you have you got 1 and 5 left.
Yes.
1 and 5 left. Here we go. AEW Dynamite.
Dang it. You know what? I'm gonna shoot myself if what comes up next is gonna be what it is. But I cannot put Dynamite at 5. So Dynamite's going in the 1 spot.
All right.
And I'm just gonna
your number 5 is WCW Saturday Night.
Which is number 1. Which is actually number 1. I had a fear that you were going to put Saturday Night on this list. But Saturday Night is 5. And that's fine.
I almost went worldwide, but I know Saturday Night's a little closer to your heart.
Yeah, and I think if we're picking based on like the actual shows, I think I might be right in my ranking, but my heart ranking hurts real bad.
Yeah.
It hurts real bad.
So breaking yours down real quick.
Yes.
You had number 5, WCW Saturday Night. Number 4, WWF Superstars. Number 3, TNA Wrestling Impact Cross the Line. Number 2 was WCW Nitro, and number 1 was Dynamite.
Yes. So Marcus, your 5 is to rank these TNA X Division champions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
And we're going to start with the Fallen Glory Hound, Christopher Daniels.
5.
5. Okay. Next up is Chris Sabin.
3.
Okay. Next up is Petey Williams.
Ooh. 4.
Okay. So you have 1 and 2 left.
Yep. Need something good.
Next is Jay Lethal.
Ooh. Oh man. I was almost gonna take the coward's way out and just put him in at number 1 because I wouldn't be mad if he was ranked my number 1. But you know what? I live for excitement. I'm going Jay Lethal 2.
Your number 1. Marcus, who do you think I have for number 1?
Samoa Joe?
Not Joe.
Oh man. Other X Division champions.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. All right. Who do you got? Who's my number 1?
Michael Shane.
Ah, man. Okay. I'm not mad at it. I should have went Jay Lethal too. But I'm not mad at it. I always had a soft spot for Michael Shane.
So your rankings of all-time X Division champions are Christopher Daniels at 5, Petey Williams at 4, Chris Sabin at 3, Jay Lethal at 2, and Michael Shane at number 1. Huh.
Yeah, not mad at it, but
not our best work on the blind rankings. We're a little out of practice. Yeah. We're still shaking off our stint on the IL, our assignment in the minors, so to speak. So very excited for that. Let us know in the Discord. Let us know on social media at TNM Shows, at Final Wrestling Place on Instagram, TNM Shows on the Discord as well. Let us know how we did on that. Marcus, we've been gone for 2 weeks, so we do have a little bit of a backlog of things to cover. What would you like to cover first?
I guess we'll go with AEW.
Okay.
And it's silly to say old news by now just because it's over a week old, but the show closing angle. Of course, I mean, we got the whole Dynamite episode, the Calgary episode, the Owen Hart Foundation Memorial Cup Finals. We started the show, wrapping things up on the men's side of the bracket with Danielson beating Hangman, which is not what I expected. And I have egg on my face, and I'm happy I do, because of how they got there. A lot more questions than answers. So I thought that was pretty dope. And now with Hangman aligning himself with the Elite just so he can get another shot at Swerve. It's a cool way. It does add something into Blood and Guts, which we'll talk about later. It's a cool wrinkle to add to that match. And then once they do get their hands on each other, then what? Is that going to be the end of it? Does it go on the back burner? Do we pencil another match in for right after Wembley? What happens? So I'm fascinated by that possibility. You can never go wrong with Danielson in your main event. Him and Swerve is going to be a great match. as we'll get to a little bit later, it seems like anytime we've got a black champ, the conversation comes up, should the women main event? I'm not saying that it's not totally invalid for the women to main event, but seems to be a pattern here. I expect them to close out the show. I expect it to be the match of the night, and I expect it to be a triple stamp with a double stamp of our AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. But looking forward to whatever happens there.
Yes, I completely concur with all that. Danielson Hangman 4 was very good. A big shout out to Double J, who was the glue guy for the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Hanger definitely felt slingshot into the tournament as being like the last man and like having to go through his entire tournament on a week of television. Like,
yeah,
a Dynamite, a Collision, and then a Dynamite to get through all of his stuff when literally the whole other half of the bracket was done. The other half of the bracket was done by the time Hangman had his first match.
Yeah.
Which, understand, like, you're waiting for everything, but I do like that they kind of swerved us with where the finals were going to go. One, with actually Double J standing his ground and not costing either man the tournament. So definitely being an upstanding citizen wrestler, so to speak. Doing it for Martha and Oj. A sidebar conversation for all the promo packages they had backstage with Jeff and Martha and Oj. Crazy to see Oj all grown up and look like a spitting image of Owen almost.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Just like a really tall Owen.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It reminds me of Mark Henry's WWE Hall of Fame speech. Like him imploring Martha to like let Oj in. And like, sure, it's not the WWE that Oj is in, but he is in wrestling. And you could tell from the vignettes, like, or the backstage stuff with Jarrett, that like he definitely enjoyed himself. This is not me saying he's going to jump into the ring and start doing stuff. But it is good to know that, like, the legacy of Owen is in a good place in regards to wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
And just to see, like, there's a positive relationship there. Like, that's awesome.
Right. For sure. But then the end of the night happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Willow and Mariah in the tournament finals. I thought this was a better match than a lot of people are giving it credit for.
Yeah.
I love this match. Mariah winning with the sun or the victory roll. Shades of Brett and Owen at WrestleMania 10. Obviously didn't get into it the same way, but that doesn't matter. The optics don't necessarily matter on that. But we get to the actual final, right? Mariah picks up the victory. Tony Storm couldn't be happier. They're marching up the ramp arm in arm. And then Marcus.
What did you think was going to happen when they got to the top of the ramp? Did you even have a thought? Like, what was your expectation?
I thought it was going to be a celebration cut to black.
Yeah, okay. Same. I did too. I thought they were going to...
I did not think they were going to pull the ripcord this far away from Wembley.
I'm with you. I thought, we would get a celebration and then maybe we would get like we have to fight now. Like, kind of look at each other. Like, we have to figure this out later.
And then I thought that, like, on Dynamite this week, Tony would have thrown, like, a nomination party. You know how, like, in Hollywood, they're like an Oscar nomination party? Like, throwing a party for Mariah for becoming number one contender, and then the turn happens at the party. But I am pleasantly surprised. That might be the coolest ending to a wrestling television show ever.
It joins the rankings of like the Nexus angle.
Right.
I'm sure there's been some other ones I don't have ready off the top of my head, but whatever that conversation of all-time great show closing moments are, that is in there. That's in like the Hall of Fame of show closing angles.
Right. Mariah just uncorked one twice.
That first belt shot.
Wicked.
It sounded like a golf ball being driven 500 yards.
Yeah, just Tiger in his prime, smoking one for the Masters.
The literal like pop that made off of Tony's face was insane. Absolutely insane. And then whipping her with the belt. That was unhinged. And Luther gets a couple shots taken to him. And he gets dismissed. And I'm so glad we got just the visual. Of course, the awesome business with the shoe. How apropos. Tony pulling a gusher. Don't ever question her love of the business. Screaming Mariah. What a moment.
I think this blood job is, I think this might be one of the, I don't want to hyperbole Jones, right? But I think that this is one of the best uses of color in history. Like, the reason why I like it so much is because it doesn't look fake. Or not, I don't want to say fake. But she was bleeding how I would expect a person to bleed.
If they got popped upside the head with a championship belt.
Like, right down the center of the face, down over the mouth. Like, the only thing I could equate it to, and some people will get this, Tony Storm, spoiler alert for a show that is completely off of television and you can watch the whole thing streaming now, is when Negan got Glenn. You don't get it. It's a Walking Dead thing.
Nope.
But
the show's over now?
Oh, yeah.
They finally ended it?
It's over. It's over. But I'm rewatching it now. So
gotcha.
I hadn't very much, not too long before Mariah cranked one out over the fence, using Tony's body as a tee and her head as the ball. Just sent one. I watched Negan do the same thing, and the shine job that Glenn had is the same one that Tony had. Just the trickle down the face with Tony trying to talk and the blood kind of popping off of her lips. Just incredible. The irony that the shoe is what gets her. Crazy. And then that visual at the end is intense. But catch up to this week, right? I'm not gonna poo-poo on it, but I don't necessarily I was not in love with the solo Mariah May promo dressed as timeless Tony Storm, kind of solidifying the All About Mariah. That was probably the only cool thing that I liked about it. But
I got it as a bookend if she's been through the stages of Tony Storm while she's been with Tony Storm. And this was the last one for her to go through.
Right.
I get it. but there is probably a better way to do it.
To me, you save it for Wembley. For me, you save it for Wembley. Mariah comes out first, dressed like timeless Toni Storm, and then Toni comes out, and Toni debuts a whole new look.
Well, I don't know if Toni has a whole new look. That's the problem. So
I don't think she's timeless anymore.
That's another part of this I didn't really think about.
I don't think Toni's timeless anymore. I think Mariah knocks Toni out of her fantasy world.
Mm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Toni comes back with like red hair.
Like in Wizard of Oz. She joined where there's color.
Yeah. Technicolor. And so but the blood from the face, she dyes her hair like blood red because it was the white. And we get like red Toni. That's my
keep
thought.
It blonde just in case she's got to run the razor again. She should keep it blonde so it looks awesome.
Well, no, I think in the follow-up match, if Mariah stays blonde, she's going to be the one wearing the flare paint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Either way, once again, I was instantly wrong about what I expected to happen. I am thrilled that I was wrong.
Right.
That they did not go with the laziest path forward.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they went with something completely out of left field, and it was done so well that there is no option but to boo Mariah. Even if she's in her home country, she is getting booed because of how great that angle was.
Right.
Like, Brett gave me the shout out on We Need Wrestling, but like people were clapping at the end of the segment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not like, oh, we're trying to get ourselves over, or oh, we love Mariah. Like, no, like they knew they just saw a masterpiece and they got up and they applauded. It was insane. I've never heard anything like that for a wrestling angle.
Neither have I.
Maybe a match, but not an angle.
Right. It was masterfully done. And it's what happens when everybody trusts each other and you can sell out and you can do what needs to be done.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, we have MJF. And we're talking about this. We'll do a very much similar thing from week to week, right? So, MJF has reverted himself to an older form. He uninstalled some updates and he's now back to who he was. Probably this is like CM Punk run MJF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And you had asked me a question if this reverting of MJF is actually a step back for Max, or if it is a step forward with some addition by subtraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you tag along his run back of his old character with the 59-minute, 58-second. Some will call it a classic. Some will call it a really long match. On Dynamite 250 with Ospreay, with him winning the international championship right before the buzzer. I don't think either of us can, or I won't question MJF in the ring.
No, me either.
He has proven that he can go, and he can do the stuff and the things in the ring. The problem is now I'm back to where I was before with MJF. I don't believe him before he gets into the ring. I don't. because I don't know what to believe because he's giving me multiple things. And he just can't focus on one thing.
Yeah. That was my issue with the hour-long match, which was a really, 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 really good hour-long match. For hour-long matches, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a really, really, really good match? Maybe, maybe not. But it was a really, really, really good hour-long match. But that was also the least interested and the least emotionally invested I've been involved in a Will Ospreay match since he's been in AEW. And I didn't feel good about that. I didn't enjoy that because I really like Will Ospreay's matches. He sucks me in emotionally. And it just didn't happen for this match at all. And it had nothing to do with the length, attention span, or anything like that. It just wasn't happening for me. And yes, Max can wrestle an hour. He's done it twice now. This is nothing about him in ring. This is to your point of MJF giving us multiple things to chew on, and we don't know which one we're supposed to digest. So I thought this dude was a killer, and I thought he was ruthless, and I thought he was strangling people while they were popping a gusher on live TV. And I thought he was tombstoning people from the second rope and breaking their necks and trying to end their careers. And I don't see how that goes hand in hand with wrestling for an hour.
And I don't also see how this goes hand in hand with starting the match, avoiding a lockup, doing your horrible Ric Flair strut into your horrible Rick Rude hip swivel. Like, you were so pissed at Will Ospreay that you borderline killed Danny Garcia. And now, the first opportunity you have to put your hands on Will Ospreay, you avoid contact and taunt? Dog. If somebody makes me mad, the one thing I'm not going to do is tell a joke. I'm fighting you. We're getting after it. And then you could say, there's mind games, and MJF thinks he's methodical, and all of this.
He should have jump started. He should have jumped him
during
at the ramp.
Ospreay stuff.
That would have been a great move for a heel to do. Take something away from the fans.
Yes. Also, like, I don't want to nitpick, but as DJ eloquently put on We Need Wrestling this week, we're a wrestling podcast. We have tons of nits to pick. I don't think this match needed to go 59-58. I think you could have got the same thing done if it went 29-28. Especially with like the picture-in-picture cutaways.
Quick aside.
Yeah.
I think only the 3 world titles should be hour-long time limits. I think everything else should have 45 and then descending from there.
Yeah, me too. But I definitely prescribe to your thought process of long does not mean great.
Right, not inherently.
A match doesn't have to go plus 30 minutes to get plus 3 stars. I think Meltzer ended up giving it, 5 and 5.75?
I didn't see, but that doesn't surprise me.
I think that's what Meltzer ended up giving it. And again, I'm not a ratings dude, but like it is, I find it fun. Ospreay.
It's like a one-man cage match.
Yeah, he's got his own. He got his own one-man cage match.
It's not because it's right. It's because it's easy.
Yeah, 5 and 3/4 stars for Dave Meltzer, or from Dave Meltzer on MJF Ospreay. Oof. We're not here to debate the right or wrongness of the scale, right? But I don't think it's a 5.75. I think if you look at now I'm really digging, and if I knew this is where the conversation would have been, I would have already had this pulled up. Dave Meltzer's 5-star matches. If you want to hear us talk about Dave Meltzer's 5-star matches, check it out on our in our archives. We definitely have multiple seasons where we talk about Dave Meltzer's 5-star matches. But what I'm looking for is when Dave started to go over 5 stars.
I believe the first one is the Kenny Omega and Okada match, right?
Kenny Okada was 6. Kenny Okada at Dominion that same year. So Wrestle Kingdom 11, they went 6. Dominion, they went 6.25. Naito and Kenny Omega from the G1 Climax that year went 5.75. But I'm just trying to look at other matches that went 5.75. Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi from 2018 went 5.75. Omega Tanahashi from Wrestle Kingdom 13 went 5.75. Shingo and Will Ospreay from Best of the Super Juniors final went 5.75. Okada Ospreay during the G1 Climax in 2019 went 5.75. And most recently, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers at All Out 2021 went 5.75. Okada Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom 16 went 5.75. Okada Ospreay during the G1 2 years ago went 5.75. MJF Danielson from here's where now we're gonna get to things where everyone who's listening to us can visualize these two matches. Okay, MJF and Will Ospreay from Dynamite went 5.75, but also MJF and Bryan Danielson from Revolution 2023 also went 5.75. The Iron Man match went 5.75. And that match is at least 2 times better than the Dynamite match.
I don't doubt it. I don't put this match in the same pantheon as those matches. But again, it's Uncle Dave and what he enjoys and what's going to get people talking and all that good stuff. So I got no whatever. But like it's mentioned on a Center Stage Chronicles new podcast with a buddy of mine, Rob Naylor, and Chris Zellner, and a dude from PWL, Charles. Going back to 89, Meltzer was already toying with going above 5 stars with a Steamboat Flair match in 89. So like it's something that like he's been toying with since like before I was alive. So it's been a while. So I don't know how much merit you want to put on like the above 5 stars or whatever, but like this match, does it feel like this match belongs with those matches off the top of my head? No. But again, it's Uncle Dave.
Right. And I guess my point is not the going over 5 stars for me. It's what other match, because now we're at the point where the scale is broken, right? So all we can do now is compare matches that have the same grade to each other, right? That's why I looked at a bunch of 5.75 matches. And then when I see MJF Danielson Iron Man from Revolution with the exact same grade, I don't see how those matches are graded the same. I don't. And it's not to
I
take
don't
away.
either.
It's not taking away from Ospreay. I think Ospreay inherently gets a 2-point bump in almost everything he does. I think MJF is getting close to getting a point bump at everything he does for Dave Meltzer. So I wish the match were shorter so it left more meat on the bone for a follow-up match. And I don't know. I also too wasn't super enthused with Ospreay. This is like the least interesting match I've seen Ospreay in AEW to date.
I feel like if this was done to get Ospreay a title win at Wembley with some stakes on it and something that's going to feel like something that can be fourth from the top, let's say, then I think mission accomplished.
Right. That's what I think it is eventually.
Yeah.
I think this is a way to keep Ospreay away from the world title picture. It gives him a high profile match at Wembley against a big star. And winning it at home is definitely cool. Like, the last thing we need is Ospreay Jericho 2. Right? Like, at least MJF, they'll have a good match. They'll go 37. Ospreay will hit the Tiger Driver. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know. There was conversations I was having in a different group chat. You're in this group chat, but you definitely not paying attention.
No, I definitely have it muted.
Okay. And I should. But I don't know. I was lonely. I don't know. No excuses. But they were talking about how, like, it was a big debate over, like, Tony Khan only booked this match to pop a rating.
Again, like, no, I think it's either so Ospreay can get a title win back at Wembley, or if this is how we get to MJF and Danny Garcia at Wembley, then it serves a purpose. And that's something that can be a big match in the middle of the show. Maybe not fourth from the top. Maybe it's sixth. Maybe it's smack dab in the middle.
Right.
But either way, I think this definitely has pay-per-view ramifications for the next big show. And guess what? AEW is practically owned. I mean, they're not really owned, but like they need Warner Brothers Discovery to be happy with them. So what is wrong with booking something to pop a rating? Especially when you're on the verge of a rights deal.
Right.
You need them. Yes, you need to time these things out. And yes, you need to be on a heater. And AEW has been on a TV heater for the last 3 weeks or so. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon with Blood and Guts. And then head into Wembley. And then we're going to have the stuff, the two, maybe one or two shows, Dynamites in between Wembley and All Out. And then we'll probably slow down a little bit in the aftermath of that.
But it just baffles me that we're still talking about like ratings and TV deals now, considering that like all the news sites with a Z, like depending on what you hear, either Warner Brothers Discovery is infatuated with AEW and they're pretty much partners through and through till the end, or AEW needs to start making money or else it's going to close.
I am sure that Warner Brothers Discovery is absolutely thrilled that they get to produce live theatrical sports twice a week, then with a taped show for very little money in the grand scheme of things, because wrestlers get paid peanuts. You don't have to deal with unions or an actors union or writers guild or anything like that. You get a traveling live studio audience, basically, You get to change your studio every single week. They don't care what it really looks like. As long as there's people on one side of the camera, they're totally happy. And wrestling still does well overall in the grand scheme of things with getting that audience. So no, Warner Brothers probably is not going to let AEW go. Relax.
Right. And the thought of AEW needs to start making money to stay in business. Like, do we forget who Tony Khan is? Like, as long as Tony Khan is enjoying himself and feeling that this is meaningful, he will continue to spend money to put on wrestling programming, so long as that he's getting something back in return. That's not just lost, but at least to make some money back.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because another thing that AEW has successfully challenged WWE with, that WWE would absolutely never budge on if not forced, is talent contracts. And WWE recently leaked what their bottom, their starting out salary is, which I think was $300K. Stevie Richards has an awesome YouTube video up discussing what money on the road looks like. And that was just going back to 2008. So that $300K, a lot less than that. But Tony Khan has come along with AEW, and especially if you're a top star, you have leverage. If you're a mid-card person, you have leverage. WWE wasn't about to let Chad Gable out the door. You think Chad Gable would be a star of Monday Night Raw if not for AEW right now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You think Bayley would be getting this run that she's getting right now? Nope. Definitely not. Cast aside. See you later. People, this is good for people. Like, this is good for the talent. The salary floor is getting raised, and the ceiling is also getting raised. Tony Khan very successfully has challenged WWE to step up their game when it comes to talent contracts. And the reports of Okada getting whatever, 14 million or 7 million, whatever the number was, probably not enough. Really not enough. When you, again, look at wrestling as a television product, okay, if you are a star of the show, if you are a star cast member, if you're on a TV show and it's a really good TV show, you're making $1 million an episode. Wrestlers are athletes. They travel. They have to look like athletes, have to train like athletes. They are athletes. They also have to do these scenes, backstage scenes, pre-tapes, whatever, be their own travel agent, get from town to town. Yeah, wrestlers are severely underpaid. So I don't think anybody's really going to argue that, but I'm very happy that like AEW has successfully challenged WWE in that aspect of pay your people more money.
Right. It goes back to the expression we used quite often here of the rising tide raising all ships. Right. And, when AEW is on their stuff, it makes WWE not rest on their laurels. WWE had a decade-long plus of laurel resting between the buyout of WCW. I would even say 20 years.
Sure did.
From the buyout of WCW till the advent of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And you could probably really, I hate to give credit to this guy, but it probably really all starts with Chris Jericho, right? Jericho goes on record to say, I will never work for a United States promotion other than WWE. And then AEW takes form, and Jericho is a day zero AEW employee.
Mm-hmm.
Instant credibility to AEW. Instant.
Yeah, you needed your Jericho, you needed your Moxley. You needed your established U.S. talent to like make the jump,
Right.
combined with, you know, the perfect combination of events to like bring in a Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Cody and all the people they were attracting at the time.
Right. And, you know, you think they're bringing in SCU, a really hot act at the time, all this stuff. But the whole point of this is to say, like, when when the temperature of AEW is turned up, it makes WWE have to crank their volume up too.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, right now, AEW is on a heater. From a talent acquisition standpoint, they're on a heater. From an in-ring product, they're on a heater. The only thing that they're not really on a heater on right now is the optics of things.
Right. And it's going to take a while to turn that around because they just got their face pushed in the mud for the last year.
Right. And whether
everybody just saw you get pounded into the ground for a year.
And whether or not you blame that on CM Punk or not, that's not us to debate. Like, because regardless of how you see it, whether you're a friend of Phil with an F or you're a friend of Phil with a PH, right? If you look at it holistically, Punk can be responsible for both the highest point of AEW and the lowest point of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
They can both be the same answer, right?
Yeah.
And we're not here our job is not to like play judge, jury, and executioner to the whole CM Punk AEW debacle, because that is played. It is tried. That case is settled, done and dusted, and we're not touching it anymore. But it is super cool to see, to your point of just AEW being successful at what they claimed or what they claimed to be, which was a challenger brand in certain aspects. There are definite parts where they don't come across as a challenger brand. They come across as almost a sister brand, right? When they're doing things the AEW way, it's really cool.
Absolutely.
And when they do things the WWE way, it comes across really poor.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the 1,000 paper cuts that AEW tends to die by, right?
Yeah. But so Uncle Tony Khan has talked about restoring the feeling. It's unpredictable week-to-week television is back in AEW. Great in-ring action is back in AEW. And TK has got the glasses on. AEW might be back, baby.
My only hope, my hope is that the roster, the main players of the roster, can stay healthy. Because the track record has shown that if a major point of Tony's storytelling goes down, it is very hard for him to reshuffle. Whereas
so it's almost like my New York Yankees. We have made moves at the deadline in previous years. You cannot accuse our GM of not adding to the team. What you can question is who he is adding. And I feel like with AEW, you cannot question the depth of their roster, but you can question who they pivot to when somebody does go down with an injury.
Right. It's tough, right? Because WWE's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. It almost seems like old hat how quick they can pivot and go in a whole nother direction and make it seamless Just look at the WrestleMania card, right? there was some wishy-washy, but I think they pivoted extremely well from Punk Rollins to everything we got at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm so excited for AEW. I'm watching more AEW than I have in a while. Because I'll be honest, like AEW lost me as like a week-to-week watcher for a bit of time. Yeah. I love wrestling, but I don't hate watch it. Like,
yeah,
if I'm not interested, I don't watch. I'll follow. Now, I find myself watching Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Like, I watched Collision yesterday.
Yo, Collision was a mad good show.
Collision was good. Was that it?
That was the esports complex.
Okay, I liked the look of it.
Me too, man. I like the look of it. I liked the audio issues. Like, sorry, a show felt live and not perfect. I enjoyed the little imperfections of the show. I thought it was a really solid show, and I'm looking forward now to the summer series.
Right. 100%. But let's shift gears from AEW to Titan Sports. Let's talk WWE. And WWE feels like a very holding pattern time, at least.
Yeah. And that's part of how they run. They're hot. They've maintained being hot. They've got SummerSlam, which is a huge show coming up. So the TV, I feel like, hasn't been as red hot as it was like heading into Money in the Bank, which was a show that needed a little bit more of a boost. But like, I don't know, they're keeping the main things.
Right. And they got a big help this past 2 Mondays ago with the return of Rhea Ripley. Her coming back a little ahead of schedule is big for them. Considering that Rhea's not just a main event women's talent, she's a main event talent, period.
Absolutely.
In WWE. And so, and like, I know she's your girl. Liv has kind of put it together the last month.
I mean, it's taken some pretty simplistic, basic yet concrete storytelling and storylines. It only took about 10 or 11 years of being in the system, but she has been at replacement level WWE superstar.
But I think now, within the last month, I think she's above replacement.
I won't go that far. We will see what the match looks like at SummerSlam and the fallout of that. But you brought up Rhea Ripley, and you know the Damian Priest world title run has been a little more missed than it has been a hit for a lot of people, and there's a whole other situation going on there with the in-ring promo from Walter or Gunther and him from Monday night. But I do think a component of this world title run maybe not being everything that everybody had wanted for him might have been because Rhea Ripley was out. Because when Rhea Ripley is there, Judgment Day is a main event act. And when she is not there, the lack of her presence is felt. And they don't feel like quite the same main event level act. They feel like an upper mid card act that can be pulled up for a night or two.
Right.
That's not an indictment on anybody in the group. Some great wrestlers in that group. But I think it's more of a testament of, again, Rhea Ripley's main event star power. Mm-hmm. Not just in the women's division, but across the board in WWE. She
Right.
is a draw for that company. She is a star.
Yes. And that's kind of why I agree. I think that Liv is higher up than you're maybe giving credit for, because like Rhea is at the point now where to work with her, you have to get pulled up to a certain level. Right? Like she's not coming down and touching people at a certain level. Like to get to Rhea, you got to come up. Right? And Liv, like the television's been decent, right? The drama, the melodrama with Liv and Dominic has been interesting to say the least. I love the little nuanced storytelling that like the Judgment Day was stringing together successful wins, recapturing the tag titles, Dom finally beating Ray, all of this with Liv kind of in the camp. And now that Rhea's back, Dom is losing again. There's some strife, some kind of wishy-washy between the two. I find it very interesting, and it gives me something to look forward to for SummerSlam that I probably wouldn't have been interested in if we hadn't gotten the Rhea injury and the Liv Revenge tour and all of the teenage boy drama between all of that, right?
Yeah, like it's got me like thinking, I'm like, I hope there's a split, and I hope it's like still Priest, Rhea, and Dom, and then it's Liv, JD, Finn Balor, and Kalito.
Right.
Or if Kalito falls off, whatever. But like, I mean, I don't want everything to like end. I wanted to fracture off and keep going.
Right. And there's time will tell for that, right? On the other side of the house, on the blue brand, Bloodline runs. Like,
yeah, man, they're having a little bit of their reign unofficially. They don't have the title, the crown jewel, to justify it. But yeah, man, some pretty solid storytelling over the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And now they've seemingly injured out Kevin Owens, Pillmanizing the neck. Jacob Fatu did on SmackDown. And of course, Randy getting the beat down on the table, and Cody being tied up in the ropes, having to watch. Definitely felt like an old school kind of close to like a SmackDown Monday Night Raw. I'm afraid that the Bloodline's going to be so up leading into SummerSlam that Solo's not going to win.
Yeah, it does feel that way, where like they're presenting them so strongly.
Yeah.
Just so you can buy into, oh, maybe Cody will lose this one. But with like Orton and Owens being injured out, I'm definitely coming around on like a big schmaz finish. Like if they come back and it all just breaks down. But then again, like, I mean, I definitely think there's money in another 6-man.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do another 6-man, and do a big gimmick on top of it, street fight, whatever.
Well, the last one was a street fight.
They changed the one at
yeah, they changed the rules of it at the very beginning.
At Money in the Bank.
Oh, I must be thinking of a different match. No. Yeah.
The street fight. No, the street fight was the 2-on-2 back at Backlash. I think that's what you're thinking about.
All right.
But yeah, I think you can do a street fight or whatever. And then again, this feels like something that's built into War Games. And I know that's still a while off, but you got so many people involved. And I'm just like, okay, well, who's the fourth? Because I don't think it's Roman. But again, like maybe this ends at SummerSlam and that question does not apply. But it getting weird for you where like the bloodline is getting so strong and we all know we're waiting for Roman to get back, but now that they're going after Cody, hate to like be corny here, but like whose story is it?
Right. And I think that it's WWE works its best, and AEW to a certain degree too. Wrestling works its best when multiple people have multiple fires burning at the same time. Where at any point you can, like right now, for example, like using AEW, Swerve and Hangman have been away from each other for a while, but they are always connected. And when they clink together, it is explosive. And that's kind of where we are now with like Cody and the Bloodlines, right?
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like Dusty and the Horsemen in a way, right?
It's very much been Owens as well.
Yeah.
Like he's been feuding with the bloodline off and on for the last 4 years.
And Randy to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But I feel like this story is Roman's. To me, the War Games match does not involve Cody, Randy, and Kevin. To me, it is Bloodline versus Bloodline. And that's the War Games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you reunite the Usos back with Roman. You get a babyface run of the old bloodline to usurp this new bloodline that the people are openly rejecting and, like, not giving the same respect to. But if it's not, then, like, I'm not mad at it. I don't want Roman to come back until, like, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to just sprinkle Roman dust on something for no reason.
And I don't want to be rushed either.
But Roman Reigns is kind of he is one of the Mr. SummerSlams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Roman at SummerSlam does not seem like a far-fetched idea. Now, I don't know if he comes back and has like a big part in something. I think he might come, much like he did during the pandemic. Your title match takes place and Roman shows up at the end of the match and starts smashing and stacking.
Mm.
And then, of course, if he shows up, the question will immediately be, is he with Solo?
Yeah.
Which common sense tells you no, but there is still that twinge, right? And knowing how the whole storyline has been playing out, I can easily see it being a bait. And Roman acknowledging Solo. And weaving in. And then getting Paul back and getting the Usos together. And then whoever that fourth man is, whether it's Hikuleo, or it's Sami Zayn, or it's Kevin Owens, or it's Cody Rhodes, or it's Randy Orton, or whoever that fourth man is for the bloodline. It could be anybody at this point. Because then the story will break away from that and be Roman Rock. But again, that's so much prognostication.
It really is.
Getting ahead of things. I would love to... I think we talked about this on the pod, or I might have said it on 3CT too. But I think after SummerSlam, we take our show and we try to, based off what happens at SummerSlam, book WrestleMania 41.
Oh, okay. I'm down for a little exercise.
Yes. Because I think we will have a good release of, like, the puzzle pieces to somewhat piece stuff together. Like, Of course, we will have John Cena in the nebulous that we won't know what happens with him until the Royal Rumble.
Oh, true.
But we can prognosticate.
All right. Yeah, I'm down.
Anything else in WWE land that's worth talking about? Do we want to talk about Gunther and do we want to talk about Gunther and Damian Priest?
Oh, all bad, man. All bad.
So this is not me hand waving. Some may take this as hand waving, but it's not. But I can see where WWE was trying to go with Gunther and Damian Priest. To me, I can see where they thought that this is supposed to be a battle of socioeconomic status. And
yes, because that is pro wrestling's place.
Right. I get it. Right. Like,
no,
I'm not.
No.
But like, I can see where that I don't think that they thought that it would be taken racially.
I mean, anytime you say you people, yes, or people like you, yes, 1,000%, every single time, and they know this because they do this.
It's a buzzword,
and it works every single time.
It does.
If you didn't want this, you could have had Gunther just like attack him from behind. That's a heel thing to do. And suddenly, Damian Priest, oh man, I feel bad for him. He got jumped from behind. He's a good guy now. That's all you need. You could have had him target a back or the ribs or something. Oh man, now you got some simpy on him.
The knee that he wrapped up in the ropes against Drew.
Something. There's a million other ways to get to this dynamic without saying people like you. And they knew what they were doing.
Right.
They knew who they were doing it with.
Yeah. This might just be me like hoping that they're not like they're just not doing this in bad taste. Like,
no, they did a racism on purpose.
I want to think it's accidental, but
no, Tim, not when it keeps happening. No, this is not accidental.
Here's my problem. Here's my biggest problem with it all. It's uncharacteristic of Gunther as a character. Gunther has not once talked about how affluent he is, or how rich he is, or how he was gifted all of the things. Like, for me, his entire presence is the ring is sacred. He takes wrestling seriously. And he feels that people are worthy of being in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
They never equated it to money or your parents loving you enough that they could get you a house. Like, all of that stuff came, for me, out of nowhere in one promo on Monday night.
Gee, I wonder why. What were they trying to get across where that could have been microwaved just like that? Man. Yeah. Gee, I wonder.
Yeah. Whole thing sucked. The whole thing absolutely sucked. And I definitely was sucking through my teeth, just like, what, doing this again?
Yeah. Oof load, huge.
They broke the knob off the dryer on that one. Just crank that Soldier Boy. Done with WWE.
Yeah.
All right. Do we go bad or worse?
Let's go bad.
And now, Tim Taylor presents The Undertaking.
So last week I missed The Godfather. If you want me to go back and cover The Godfather, I will. But this week it's a lot of talking about the Ministry of Darkness.
Okay.
But the big takeaway I took from the entire thing was, well, one, we're still rocking that old Blue Chew ad, you know.
It's like steroids for your wiener. But legal.
The big takeaway was Undertaker admitted that Kevin Nash offered Undertaker a WCW contract during the height of the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
And Take was like, no. Because he remembered when WCW told him he would never make money. So he had that petty on him. So it made me think, like, God, what if The Undertaker would have showed up in WCW in, like, 97, 98?
I mean, it would have stunk. That would have been funny.
Like Bret Hart?
Yeah, they could have tried maybe to try to kind of present him like they did Raven, but Undertaker is not going to pull that off. And we've kind of seen, like, anytime Mr. Undertaker steps outside I'm a Dead Man, it leaves a lot of room for error, you know, talking about strapping up your motorcycle across your back and walking across the desert. So yeah, it probably would have been here's Mark from Texas, the near 7-footer, and he would have been like, I'm a giant too. And he would have fought like the Giant and probably Nash, and probably would have had a dope match with Reese.
Yeah,
Give him that.
I thought you wouldn't bring up Reese.
That'd probably be pretty dope, actually.
There'd probably be like a weird WCW Saturday Night match with Roadblock.
Oh, there's definitely going to be Roadblock, Ron Fuller,
Mike Enos.
definitely Mike Enos match in there. Probably
Van
a good
Hammer.
Luger and Undertaker match about like who do you trust, or like I don't know what side you're on. It's probably one of those matches. Yeah, outside of that, I don't see it going too well.
Yeah, I don't really either. Like, the only cool thing would be Undertaker and Sting, but I don't know if you can have both of those characters coexist at the same time in that era.
Well, it wouldn't have been Undertaker. It would have been Here Comes Mark from the Ceiling or something, or Mark from his Harley.
Would we have just gotten like an earlier version of the American Badass?
1,000%.
Okay.
Yes, because it's always got in the tank.
So, in 1998, what would have been the Undertaker's song? Because we wouldn't have had American Badass yet. We wouldn't have had Rollin' yet. We're talking 98.
Let's see.
Like, do they get
Let
a
me see.
real
I'm doing a quick
song?
journalism real quick. I think that we probably have The Memory Remains or Fuel, both from Metallica Reload,
Okay.
which is November 1997.
I can also see King Nothing.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I could see King Nothing. He could have also used Sad But True. Like, it's the same song as American Badass. Who knows? Knowing him, he would have found a way to use Troubadour, and it would have been awful. I'm gonna go Troubadour. Because I'm led to believe that all old wrestlers love Troubadour. That's the song. That's the phrase that pays in these days. But yeah, a big nothing sandwich for 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway. Not happy, not pleased, but not the worst thing I've heard. Hey, no paramilitary, no parapolice, no soldier MMA fighters. It was nice.
I heard somebody else picked up that duty this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We get to dig into a topic we love to hate to cover so much. Dusting off his hat, finally whether you believed him or not, Bad Terry made his debut at the Republican National Convention this past week. And if you listen to Bad Terry during the 9-minute speech he gave at the RNC, he would make you believe that he never got involved in politics ever. Like the time he tried to run for president on television in the year 2000, or the time that he offered to be Donald Trump's running mate in 2016. But again,
no. Yeah, no.
Never
definitely not
got
like those
involved
times.
with politics.
Nope, first time.
First
time, long time.
Here's what I hated the most. Bad Terry has now weaponized the phrase real Americans.
Oh, it just keeps getting more dangerous, man.
It is dangerous.
It starts with just being American, and then it goes to being a patriot, and then it goes to being a true patriot, and now we have reached the red shirt John Cena version of patriotism with real American.
Man, I hate it so much. Did you listen to the Bad Terry at the RNC?
I watched a clip. I'm not sure if it was all of it or not. But I watched a clip or two. And I've got to say, shout out it once again, Young Ed, getting at us in the T&M Shows channel on the soon to be named network Discord. He was asking, was this, what version of Hulk Hogan was this? And I let him know, said, this was Terry Bollea. This was TNA Immortal Hulk Hogan. This is Bad Terry in his truest form. This is not Hulk Hogan of the 1980s, because the real Hulk Hogan would be too coked and roided up to want to get federal attention. So it's not that Hulk Hogan. And it's also not Hollywood Hogan. Hollywood. Because we also know Hollywood Hogan ran for president, so he would never admit defeat and then endorse another candidate. That's just not going to happen. So we know it's not Hollywood.
My style.
We know it's not Hollywood, and we know it's not real Hulkamania. So this is Bad Terry, Hulk Hogan, Bubba the Love Sponge era.
So
Bad Terry.
Shout out to my consortium. She doesn't listen to wrestling stuff often, but she was definitely eavesdropping while I was watching Bad Terry at the RNC. And she was like, is this like bad Terry? And I'm like, yeah, this is like worse than Bad Terry. And then she was like, what if there's another world where there's a good Bad Terry? And he like does the same thing, but he like infiltrates the Republican Party and like brings all the bad guys down, dude. And like brings the corruption down by being the good version of Bad Terry. Whole thing sucks. He did lie about when he met Donald Trump.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
So he said he met Donald Trump when he won the WWF title covered in blood at the Trump Plaza Hotel, which would have been WrestleMania 5. Marcus, I don't remember Hulk Hogan being covered in blood at WrestleMania 5.
And of course, WrestleMania 5 would have been on April 2nd, 1989. Yes, the main event was the Mega Powers exploding. Hulk Hogan versus the champion at the time, Macho Man Randy Savage. Yes, Hogan did get busted open in the contest. It looked to be hard way, perhaps. It was not gratuitous. It was not flowing. It was not the Crimson Mask. It was just a cut that quickly stopped bleeding. So was he covered in blood? No. Did he win the WWF title there? Yes, he did. But this was not the first time that he met Donald Trump, because we know that WrestleMania 4 also happened at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino Convention Center, the same location, Atlantic City, New Jersey, a year prior. I believe that was March 28th, 1988. Do a check here real quick. March 27th, 1988. So we know a year prior he would have met Donald Trump. But even going a little bit before that, we know that March 2nd, 1988 was the WrestleMania 4 press conference. That was from New York, and that had Ted DiBiase, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Andre the Giant, I believe Virgil was there, hosted by Gene Okerlund, and we also had other luminaries like President of the World Wrestling Federation, Jack Tunney.
Oh, yes.
Hulk Hogan, and there is photographic evidence of Donald Trump and Hulk Hogan, March 2nd, 1988, WrestleMania 4 press conference with the vacant at the time World Wrestling Federation title.
You mean star of the cinematic classic Home Alone 2, Donald Trump?
I'm talking about that Donald Trump, yes.
Okay.
Which, doing a dive into this lie, this once one of the many numerous lies of Bad Terry, but diving into this lie of Bad Terry, I uncovered a new Trump lie, which was that Trump did not know, I forget the guy's name, but he didn't know this this mob guy who was tied to gambling. But there is video proof of them hanging out for the better part of 4 hours at WrestleMania 4 as they were sitting next to each other all night long and having discussions back and forth. So that was something.
Robert Labooty.
That's the one. That's the guy. Yep. Trump, of course, denied ever knowing this person, never came in contact with him. And yeah, it's right there for you to see still on the award-winning Peacock WWE tab. Check out WrestleMania Season 4, Episode 1, and you can see Robert Labooty and Donald Trump sitting together, taking in all the festivities of WrestleMania 4.
Or Labuddy, I don't know how you would pronounce it, but there's
like
also
Labooty.
an article. There's an article on Yahoo about it as well. So there's definitely multiple pieces of evidence pointing to this horrible lie. Stack the lies to the sky and let God sort it out. I don't know, man. The whole thing sucks. I hate it so much. I hate that I had to cover another Bad Terry lie.
Well, if we don't, who will?
That's right. And I hate that he's weaponizing our childhood. Is what I really hate the most. Real Americans, the tearing of the shirt, my hero.
I just think it's really funny that like old boomers are falling for, that's fake, right? Like all this stuff that they told us was fake, like now they're falling for it and like treating as like a serious endorsement. Pretty funny.
Very hilarious. But yeah, man, is there anything else?
Because they're old and stupid.
They are old and they are stupid. Do we have anything else we need to cover this week?
I don't think so. I think that's a wrap.
Beautiful. Do you have anything you need to plug, sir?
Yeah, next weekend, Mr. Pig's going to be down at VCW, taking part in a Granby street fight. The bunkhouse attire is a must. So yeah, go ahead and check that out in Norfolk, VA. Let's pack that bad boy out. Other than that is it for me.
Cool. Soon to be named network.tumblr.com. It's the home of the soon to be named network, where you can get this show and so many others, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds with Wrestling with Joe and Adam and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. Check everything out where you can at STBN Network on Twitter is your spot. If you want to follow us on social media, you absolutely can. At TNM Shows on Twitter, at Final Wrestling Place on Instagram. You can find me at Not the Tool Man across all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever. And at the Wrestling Speakeasy for Marcus, if you know, you know. Check us out. Shoot us a line in the Discord, the TNM Shows channel. Let us know you heard it. We'd love seeing you guys kind of live tweeting through what we've got. We definitely appreciate it. It is still hashtag up to something season. So we're definitely still working on figuring out what new to give to you. A shout out to DeWicki, the third man. Love you, boy. You're the best. Shout out to all you guys too for listening to the podcast. You guys are amazing. Whether you listen all the time or some of the time or part of the time, your ears are good enough for us. We definitely appreciate that. We will be back here next week to, of course, cover more stuff. But right now, Marcus, all that's left is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.